What's lurking in the woods in Haywood County? Do you hear that? Sounds like a title card. Hello, welcome to Bump in the Night, and we are back again in Waynesville, North Carolina, where we're going to be talking about probably one of the most famous, legendary creatures in Haywood County and in the entire western North Carolina area. But first, let's go over some history. The year is 1891, when a South Carolina man by the name of S.C. Satterthwaite bought a 204-acre plot of land on the top of Junaluska Mountain, which is now known as Eagle Nest Mountain. Now, S.C. would seek to make this land purchase that he just made profitable. But first, he needed to build a road in order to get to the top of the mountain. And that's where some say that he enlisted the help of the local Cherokee Indians to carve out a road that reached to the top of the mountain. Some say that whenever large rocks or boulders would get in the way, the Cherokee would set the area around the rock on fire until it got very, very hot, and then pour cool water on top of the rock, making it crack and therefore easier to move and deal with. By the time the road was finished, SC started to make his grand plan known, and he began building a large structure on the top of Junaluska Mountain. Construction started in 1899, and just 1 year later, in June of 1900, the Eagle Nest Hotel was built and ready to take on guests. The hotel was sought by people all over the country. They ran really interesting advertising campaigns to get people to come to it. They would say things like, "There's no hay fever at Eagle's Nest," and sometimes they would even say something along the lines of, "The problems of children are not found at Eagle's Nest." So, definitely maybe not advertised as a family location. But either way, the Eagle Nest Hotel was completed in 1900 and saw thousands of people within its years of operation. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back in the past to see me give you a better idea of this hotel and the mountain itself. I'll see you back here. We are here at Inspiration Point, here overlooking the beautiful Lake Junaluska over here. I'm trying to see if you can, all of that beautifulness up back there. But we've come back in time so that I can give you a location idea of where Eagle Nest Mountain is, and more importantly, where North Eagle Nest Mountain is. So I'm going to turn this around here. And so you see this kind of trio of mountaintops here. Well, the North Eagle's Nest is that one right there, kind of with the slanted top, and that is where the Eagle Nest Hotel used to sit. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get in my car and drive a little deeper into the center of Haywood County and actually go up as far as I can to the top of this mountain ridge right here, approximately where the Eagle Nest Hotel would have been. But also there's some really awesome views up there that I want to get before the sun goes down, and then we will continue our story. Alright, see you guys there. Alright, so we are not quite as far up as we can go, but as far up as I feel comfortable going up Eagle Nest Mountain, mainly because this is a private community. There are residents that live up here, and I don't want to disturb them in any way, especially not this time of day. But I just wanted to show you, we're very high up. I mean, it might be hard to see around the trees and all that, but all that's those buildings and the stuff down there, is Waynesville. So this isn't the Junaluska facing side. Unfortunately, that's the side that we can't get up into because it's got a gate and everything. But I did want to bring you guys up here real quick just to kind of get a feel of how high up basically Eagle Mountain is, and kind of imagine what it would be like in the very, very early 1900s to traverse this mountain and come stay at a beautiful hotel overlooking Lake Junaluska. But of course, that's not all the story. So let's go back to present day Sam and hear the story. Welcome back, and now we are standing in front of a very unique and popular brewery here in downtown Waynesville called Boojum Brewing Company. Now, Boojum is a name that many locals understand well. That is going to be our story for tonight. Many locals today and of the past have claimed to have seen a creature moving in and around the mountains and hillsides of Haywood County. What these people describe the creature looking like, depending on who you ask, is between 7 and 8 feet tall and is covered in long, dirty, matted hair from the top of his head down his long tail. But he is said to have the face of a human, of a person, but slightly off. People have claimed that it looks a little longer and a little bit more feral than what we would say a human looks like. This creature, they gave it a name and they called it Boojum. Boojum, for the most part, kept to himself. He really only had 2 loves in his life. One of those loves were precious gemstones that he would find around the mountains of Haywood. For those of you who don't know, there are actually some pretty significant veins of sapphire, emerald, and ruby all throughout the mountains of Haywood County, Jackson County, Macon County, all the surrounding counties in western North Carolina. And Boojum would seek out these mains and where they feed into riverbeds and everything like that, and he would collect the precious stones that he was looking for. What he would do with them is he would find the discarded jugs and mason jars from, the local partakers, and use them to keep his jewels, and he would bury them all around and hide them specifically in the front of various caves, which is where he would spend most of his time. Boojum's second love was that of the local women of Haywood County. Now, the Boojum would hide in bushes or behind rocks near bodies of water, streams or ponds, where at the time local women would use these areas to bathe themselves. And so the Boojum would hide and try to sneak a peek, if you will. Most of the women that he would be spying on would kind of sense his presence, and they would inevitably scream and run away and tell people. But there was one woman who actually wasn't scared of the Boojum at all. In fact, she kind of pitied him and eventually fell in love with him. And her name was Annie. Annie was able to strike up a relationship with Boojum, and the two were in love, spending most of their time together out in the woods and the caves of Haywood County. Despite this, though, Boojum still loved his jewels. He would leave Annie for long periods of time to search out his emeralds and sapphires and rubies, leaving her alone for who knows how long. But Annie was always able to reconnect with the Boojum, no matter where he was, by standing in the middle of, valleys and on the tops of mountains and let out a scream. People have described it as sounding like a bobcat and an owl, almost. She became kind of known for this very distinctive call she would do out in the woods. Soon, when people who were traveling to Haywood County would ask, "What is that noise coming from the distance out there?" they would say, "Oh, that's just old Hootin Annie out there." And thus, the word or the term Hootin Annie, which is kind of a colloquial and local way of describing a get-together of friends, was brought about by Annie's calls to find Boojum. But this love story does not have a happy ending. A local man who was staying at Eagle Nest Hotel came in one night and exclaimed that he had found and killed Boojum. In fact, to further prove this, he produced jewels, the emeralds and the rubies and the sapphires, to say, "I killed him and here are his stones." So word of this traveled fast, and eventually Annie heard about this. One thing is known for sure is that in 1918, the Eagle Nest Hotel burned to the ground under unknown circumstances. Now, locals believe that one of two things happened. One, Annie sought revenge for the death of Boojum and went to the Eagle Nest Hotel where the man was staying and burned it to the ground. The other story that some locals believe is that this man didn't kill Boojum, but instead stole from him and ran away. And this infuriated him so much that he and Annie worked together to burn the Eagle Nest Hotel to the ground. Either way, the hotel is gone, and sightings of Boojum and the sounds of Hootin Annie are still heard and seen today. I found a small little trail system. It's not really like an official trail, but I did find a small trail system at the base of Eagle Nest Mountain. As I said earlier, you can't really go up to the very top of it because it is now a gated community and you have to be a homeowner up there in order to get in. So I don't want to mess with those people, as I said before, but I am going to go to the base because the people who live up there, that's where they say they hear the sounds coming from, is at the base or somewhere down in the valley below Eagle Nest Mountain. So come with me, we're going to find us a Boojum. Before we go, I wanted to take you here behind the brewery itself to their bottom floor bar called the Gym and see this awesome mural work that's being done back here. And here, if it'll focus, you can see what looks like a pair of fingers with some long nails grabbing up some sort of stone. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Alright, let's go. Okay, so we are somewhere around the base of North Eagle Nest Mountain, and we're just going to kind of walk around and see if there's anything waiting for us in the dark. Ooh, now this is really interesting. So I don't know how well you can see, but I've come across kind of a little pond area here. A little stick sticking out of it and everything. It's very calm. You can almost see through it, at least I can. But I wonder if this is a place where the Boojum might come and refresh himself. Or could this be a place where local ladies of Haywood County may have given the Boojum a show they weren't expecting. Alright, made my way up a little bit more. There's a section here that looks a little different than anywhere else around me. It's a bunch of felled trees here that seem to be broken, and this one up here even seems to have just been pushed from the ground itself. Now, we've had some rain and some wind here recently, and that could be the answer for all of this, but how bizarre, it almost forms a little path leading straight up there towards where I assume where the hotel would have been. Let's see. I've been out here for about 20 minutes or so, and I was walking down, coming up to this kind of big rhododendron bush, and something started moving in it, and I tried to make sense of it that, oh, it was a squirrel or a groundhog or something like that, but it sounded much bigger. Now, there's plenty of wildlife out here. You know, we have deer, we have wild boar, we have, God, hopefully not bears, but we do have bears out here. But I'm gonna point this at the rhododendron bush that I just heard something move, and we'll see. Alright, so it's just right out, not that branch is coming from another tree, but just up there by this tree is a patch of rhododendron, or at least it looks like it could be something else. But something moved through that, and it seemed to wait until I got closer. I didn't hear any movement as I was coming up this way, and it seemed to react to me. I tell you, it's a little unnerving to be in the woods by yourself at night. It's very serene, but at the same time, you know, you can't really see that much in front or around you, so you're kind of left to use your other senses. And thankfully I have this flashlight on my camera, but yeah, I don't know. Hello? Okay, guys, I was heading back out of the woods to my car, and I heard what sounded kind of like a groan or a moan. Well, not a moan. It didn't sound like it was a painful sound, but I heard something that sounded like a voice coming from the woods. Now there's movement. Hello? Yeah, it came from right over there. There's something else. It's kind of like the sound is pinging between all these places around me. Okay, let me turn my camera around here. I'm gonna get out of here because I don't know. I know we've been talking about Boojum and all that, but also I don't know if that was an animal that I don't want to encounter, or possibly a person I don't want to encounter. So I'm just gonna get out of here, and we'll reconvene in this thing out in back in Waynesville. Okay, so I'm sitting in my car, and I was trying to think of how best to describe the sound that I heard out in the woods was, and oddly enough, this song that I've listened to thousands of times, and actually this sound used to confuse me as a kid, I used to think it was my dad calling me from the other room, and you'll understand in a second. But the song is Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, and there's a section after the second verse where he, right after he says his first "help me," like that, there's a sound in the background that is the closest to what I can say what I heard in the woods. So I'm gonna play here in my car. Hopefully you can hear it. What it is. This is about I'm about 1 minute and 10 seconds in, and when you listen, if you're gonna listen to this on your own, wait till he says "help me," and then there's a thing in the background kind of going like that. And I don't know if it's a backup vocal or what, but that's the closest that I can say it sounded like. So this is kind of what it sounded like to me. So I don't know if you guys heard that. I'll play it one more time. That's the best way I can describe the sound that I heard. Kind of a like that. But either way, gonna get back on the road, head back to Waynesville, and close this thing out. All right, see you then. And we return to downtown Waynesville. I've had enough time to collect my thoughts and really reflect on what could have been out in the woods. I've reviewed some of the footage and didn't really see anything or hear anything, but it was just through the camera screen and the internal speaker. So I don't know. It really shook me up, but I will say this. What I heard, what I thought I heard, was, in my opinion, not from an animal that I'm familiar with. I know what sounds bears and boar and deer make, and it wasn't really anything like that. So I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it up to myself. But either way, I really appreciate all of you joining me tonight and listening to another story. If you like this video, please let me know. Comment below, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you next time.